So glad you're with me today. I'm going to be talking through a lot of things in this video. I felt like it was time for sort of a holiday product roundup. This is kind of a check-in of sorts. I'm not saying I'm done trying holiday makeup because there's really a lot of things from Ulta, maybe exclusively to Ulta, that I haven't tried, but mainly this stuff is from Sephora, and I just wanted to really easily sort it out into some different categories. The things I'm glad I bought, the things I didn't really end up needing, the things I will not buy, and maybe a handful of things I might still kind of want, or really want in some cases. So with the things that I have had experience with in the categories of glad I bought it or didn't really need it, I have videos that are explaining these things more in depth. I know I have to be kind of quick with it to get through the amount of products I want to talk about in this video, so it's going to be streamlined, but just know if it's something I've talked about using, I have other videos out there where I tried it on, fully reviewed it, etc. So in the category of glad I bought it, the first thing I'm going to mention is the non-Sephora item, just so I don't forget about it, but it's this Tarte beauty book that I got from QVC. Absolutely love this. This is one of my favorites of the holiday season. Now for years on QVC it was IT Cosmetics that was doing the beauty book. For a couple of times in there Laura Geller came in with something, but this time it's Tarte's, and I must say I'm very, very happy with the spread of products in here. We have a face panel that has blushes, cream blushes, highlighter. Those are actually lip and cheek up there. We've got a great, very wearable spread of eyeshadow, and I do think that's definitely key. This is a super travel-friendly palette. It's something that I think really needs to be workable for all occasions. That's the kind of shadow spread you have. You have brow and liner products here that can also jump in and be eyeshadows. And then on this panel, we actually have cream concealers, setting powder, and bronzer. And look at the generously sized pans of everything. There's a mirror. It's all going to fold in on itself and not get into or get messy, you know, with the other panels. And it comes in multiple shade options. I believe there are 4 different tones to choose from. And for the longest time with IT Cosmetics, like, they would just put multiple concealer shades in there and say it's like a one-size-fits-all palette. This one definitely customizes those face shades and even into the blushes to deeper skin tones, which I think is great. So this is one of my favorite products for the holidays. I think Tarte did a great job. It's just one of those products that will continue to be a quick and easy grab and go throughout the whole year. Another glad I bought it, the Ilia palette. This little face palette, it's called the Ethereal Baked Face Palette. I chose the medium shade option in this, and I just think these powders are beautiful. I think they actually are blurring. We have a bronzer, 2 blushes, and a highlight. I'm actually wearing all of those products on my skin right now. They just are a little bit perfecting. The finish of them actually does seem to kind of minimize the look of fine lines and pores. The textures are soft yet very thin. They're not creating a lot of weight on the skin at all, but somehow they are creating good adherence to the skin, good staying power, and like I said, kind of a soft focus effect. I'm really glad I got the medium. I probably could have gone with the light, but these tones, I like the added richness in there, and yet the highlight's still bright enough to work on me. So this has been a great little palette, very handy, a good value. It's a practical palette. I can use it on my eyes as well. Look into the different shade options on Sephora's site. I'll have everything listed and linked below, and by the way, if you use those affiliate links, I explain down below what an affiliate link is and why I use them, and I do so appreciate your support using those links. But this palette just really hits my sweet spot for being great quality, being practical, and just really no-brainer, easy to use. On the more expensive end, but still something I'm glad I got, is my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit palette. This is the Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked, and I got the Dragon version, the lightest option available. You're getting 2 different setting powders. I do have a whole video with this, by the way, just like everything. We've got a couple of blushes here. One is Marble, one is the Satiny Rose. We've got bronzer, we've got highlighter. I talked about this some in my Ilia video, and I mentioned how I think there's a real similarity in texture with these powders. They all feel lightweight. By the time I get to my setting powder steps in this palette, I do kind of see that blurring effect. I think the Ilia is sort of an option for experiencing the hourglass effect, but with a lower price tag and just less color options. This is 4 pans, this is 6 pans. But there's something always so pleasing about using the Hourglass palettes. They are so luxurious feeling, and yet there's this ease about it. There's this feeling like I can't screw this up. All of these shades are going to just kind of meld together on my skin. I love that there are finishing powder options in the palette. So these ambient lighting powders, you know, they're different from a highlighter. If you're not familiar, they're like a setting powder with just the maybe the softest bit of glow in there. And I like using the brightest one, maybe kind of hitting specifically the under eye and center of the face area, and then going over everything with this other setting powder that's been included. It's a really pretty look. I just really like the spread in this particular palette, the dragon option. And yes, I'm glad I bought it, but if you want to spend less and get a similar effect, think about the Ilia. The 2 thumbs up list continues here, and I have to mention something that it did come in PR. Really everything I'm talking about in this video is not a PR thing, it's something I chose to buy, but this one, I really think it needs to be in the conversation because it's one of my very favorite holiday things so far this year, and I 100% would have bought it myself if I hadn't received it early on in PR, but it's the Lawless Dreamy Dozen 2 palette, the second edition. I'm wearing this today. This comes under the heading of I always like the way my look turns out with this. So check out the full video. We've got mattes in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mattes, and we've got some beautiful shimmers. All of the shimmers are creamy, pigmented. There's an ease about them. There's a what you see is what you get nature with them. They're not going to be frosty like flyaway glitters. They're legit shimmers, and the shade range probably looks somewhat common as you glance at it. But what's so important to me and what is happening in this palette, I love the gradient, okay? Shades like this are really, really important in a palette. Shades that are kind of somewhere in the middle and kind of close to one another, but differentiating themselves enough to not feel like you're getting repeat shades. But those are the kinds of colors that come together to make a flawless blend every time, you know, because you started here, maybe you dipped into that, you deepened it with that. We've got 2 really rich shades that I think give this palette even more range than last year's, and then all these different like kind of bronzy, somewhat glitzy options, but like I said, they're smooth. You put your finger in, there's a butteriness to them. I'm wearing some of this beautiful taupey shade on like part of my lid, inward with one of the brighter champagne-y shimmers, and then I've set up the whole outer part with, I didn't go to black today, but I did go into this shade, mixed it with these other couple, and I just love the look every time. Lawless has a phenomenal eyeshadow texture. I wish when they put Dreamy Dozen out, which was a mostly matte palette, they had like 3 shimmers down the side. I wish when that original came out that they like kept it around for good and made that a permanent fixture in their line, because it's such a good product. But now they've got the 2, and I've got to say, I feel like there's even more range with this one just because of the depth that's available and the ease with that depth. I mean, that's a near black and it blends out so seamlessly and easily. I love this. If the Tarte palette's like a full face pick, this would be my specific eyeshadow pick, you know? Another thing I'm glad I bought, I really like this Merit lipstick set. This is a very luxurious little set, and I like what Merit did here, including 3 completely different textures in the kit. So we have this shade called Bespoke, and look at how even the tube is just a different tone on each. I like that. But Bespoke is a really pretty, really natural shade, and it's in their satin finish. It feels like a really nice creamy lipstick. And then they give you a matte. It's in black tie. That's the one I'm wearing in this video. Isn't it beautiful? Like, I could wear this anytime. I could wear it for a really dressy occasion or just every day like I am right now. I think I might have a thing for texture differences in a lip kit even more than tones. Like, that's even more exciting to me. But that's a gorgeous shade. Again, the luxurious, pretty packaging. And then they give us something really cool called a lip blush, and that's in the shade Du Jour. And it gives you this soft, kind of natural, pink, baby lip kind of thing. It's so pretty, and it's matte, but it's like a little lighter take on their matte. And I just think they did a beautiful job with this set. It's packaged in a gorgeous box. It's like if you wanted to gift somebody, a lip product lover in your life, a really luxurious, really pleasing, special lip experience, this is it. But then the last thing in my glad I bought it section here is for the comfort lovers, okay? The people who like a balmy lip treatment type of product. So glad I got the Tower 28 little lip softy set. It just slides out of the box like this. You're getting 4 different shades. One of them is new, and then the other 3 exist in the line. You're getting Dolce de Leche, Ube Vanilla, Watermelon Kiwi, and then Sugar Plum is the new. These are shiny, comfortable comfortable, a great scent experience, so absolutely just cute. And a thing about tubes and me is I'm very skeptical of tubes in gifty kind of mini packaging because I think we can easily get ripped off. They can put hardly anything in that tube. I've seen Tarte do it before. All of my tubes, all 4 of them, seem to be nicely filled with product. It's a great fusion of color, shine, and treatment in those. And the shades are really earthy, layer great over lip liners if that's your jam, 2 thumbs up. Now's the time where Em gets really honest with herself and she admits and calls herself out on the things that she got that she maybe didn't really need. First off, the Merit Flush Balm Trio. Now this is a like. These are enjoyable, they're cute, I like them. I'm not saying I don't like them, but in reality, like if I just use these as a standalone product and don't set them with something else, I know I'm gonna have a subpar blush staying power day. That's just the case. I mean, the deeper shades give you a better chance at it, but they don't last that well, and I feel much more comfortable layering something else up. But I mean, this is high-end price tag kind of stuff here. And I'm also coming from the perspective of I've bought their little sets of these the last 2 years. I really didn't need to get more at this stage of the game. The shades are pretty. I love the color Mood. It shears out to be a really pretty sheer berry type of thing, but it wasn't an absolute need. I'm not having the feeling about these that I'm having about all the things I just mentioned in the Glad I Bought It section, okay? The Clinique Cult Classic Lip Duo. I mean, this is cool. We love Black Honey, but I actually prefer the texture of e.l.f.'s dupe of this product. I don't know if e.l.f. even intended to make it be a dupe, but I remember calling it out on my TikTok a long time ago. I think their shade is called Black Cherry, and it's every bit of this color, but actually a more expensive, more hydrating feel. And then the Pink Honey's just okay. I knew what I was getting with the Black Honey, and I think I was hoping something overwhelmingly great would occur to me in trying the pink one, and I'd just be like, wow, this is amazing. You know, why has nobody been talking about the Pink Honey? But I'm just kind of like, it's okay, and I didn't really need this. And the texture of these is honestly not that moisturizing. The Ilia Lip Sketch Trio. I really like these. I really do. These were featured in the video with the palette. These little chubby lip crayons, they also come with a sharpener in their little kit. You're getting the shades Earthen and Pink Door and also Rhyme. I like the tones. I like the way they go on. I enjoy this kind of chubby stick process, but I must say the shades aren't that unique, and the more I've used them and had them on hand, the more I've thought, well, I think I have some other liners that are really in the ballpark of these. Other drugstore lip liners, kind of looking into my Superstay Matte Ink crayons and stuff like that. I just feel like I've got stuff. Maybe it's not dead on enough to be a dupe, but it's actually really close. And if I ask myself, can these hang as strongly with everything I talked about in the Glad I Bought It section, I'd have to say no, they're just kind of under it. Still good, but not like, whoa. This Tarte Glow Squad palette here. Beautiful on the outside, but really don't like this. The textures are very light, dry, flaky. There's a difference, a complete and total difference in the lightness of the shades I described in the Ilia palette. Those were light, but yet there was an adherence to the skin. There was still a concentrated pigment within. These feel light and kind of fly away. It's all about glow in this palette. Everything is glowy. I was hoping this would be a functional bronzer, but it's really not. So you're getting a blush, which is pretty. This shade, which is just kind of in betweener, like it's not a highlight, it's not a full-on bronzer, it doesn't feel like blush, and then 2 highlighters up top. I explained in the original video where I talked about it, the ways this could be more versatile and could have been good for me, but it's just not. While we're on Tarte, and I won't stay on this long because I feel like I really extensively talked about these in a recent video, but these are their Golden Era palettes. It's a trio of palettes that I feel like they laid out just to be eye-catching at a glance. Like, just to look at the palette, you can see there's mattes and then there's popping shimmers in a little palette. There's a pattern going on. It was meant to be eye-catching and glitzy. There's high contrast in there. The reasons I pointed out in that Lawless palette, how there are really effective midtones and they're not really flashy shades, but they're kind of close together and one blends into one, blends into one. And there's subtle differences, but they're important shades. Well, these aren't doing that. These are having darkness, brightness, and shimmer. Can they create okay looks? Yes, but am I glad I have these? I didn't really need to get these. The superior product from Tarte this year is that beauty book, for sure. And that's not even me feeling like, oh, I have to shout out a Tarte product among my favorites. This beauty book is legitimately one of my holiday favorites, just all around. But I didn't really need those Tarte eyeshadow palettes. Oh, and then this. Under the heading of didn't really need, but I do think this is a good product, this palette from Too Faced, where I owned 3 of the 4 products in here. So they're giving you this new Watermelon Rain blush. It's beautiful. I love it, but I already had Velvet Crush and I didn't realize that it was in here. I already had Golden Hour and I already had Shooting Star Highlighter. So this was not a need for me. Now, if you've had your eye on those different, very popular shades of that blush formula, you know, the ones that come in the cute little colored compacts with the fancy looking gold rim, if you've had your eye on that stuff, I mean, this is a beautiful highlight. These do work well. They swatch looking exactly like the original, by the way. They're great. It might be for somebody, but if you already own those things, like, just be aware with these sets of what you already own and is it worth it for you to buy the pretty holiday packaging, you know? So not really worth it for me, but a good product. Now let's go rapid fire through the things I'm not planning to buy. The Say Mini Dew Blush Trio. This looks really appealing to me, definitely drew me in to like click it on the website and look into it a bit further, but it contains the color Chili, which I already have, and I also feel like I may be veering a little bit more away from a super dewy formula on the cheeks, just knowing in reality those don't always last that well. I'm not all about preserving a dewiness on my skin. I'm more about wanting it set and wanting it to last all day. It's not maybe a necessary formula for me, and also I own one of the 3. The new Mario Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette. It's pretty, but I've got beautiful navy pops in a few other places, and I wasn't all that floored by the original Ethereal Eyes palette from Mario. Like, it was nice, but I wasn't jumping up and down about it. And I was really noting over the weekend how I'm not that floored by even his all matte palette, his newest one that's a little bit cooler. I have that, and I honestly don't love the way it blends. It's loaded with seemingly good basics, but I'm just not like, wow, I'm gonna key into every new palette Mario puts out. I'm just not all about that. Urban Decay Moondust Space Cowboy Quad. Some people may love the level of shimmer in here, but I'm wanting something that can create contrast. I know Ulta put out a special Space Cowboy thing with Urban Decay. This was sent to me, and it offers like the full look, but I'm not interested in just getting a quad of nothing but shimmer. You know, somebody asked me if I was getting that, and I just want to say I'm not getting it. Why did I choose to put the certain things in the won't buy section? I'm not going to be mentioning everything on Sephora's website that I won't buy, but I'm mentioning those things that you might wonder about. The Summer Fridays Mini Neutrals set, I have several shades out of this set already because I got their mini set last year. So there wasn't that much newness this time around, and I hadn't used up everything. I do like these Summer Fridays balms a lot, but it's not like I'm running out of what I already had. And again, it's same shades repeating, not worth it to me. The Kosas Baked Blush set, decided to skip on this. With continued use, not been that impressed with the one that I have. This is the Blushes Life Baked Blush in the shade Swoon. And I'm kind of like, it's all right. It's definitely pretty to look at. It gives me kind of a soft mauve-y cheek. But if it was this versus a Laura Geller Baked Blush in Brighton, I'd go Laura Geller. I just feel like we're getting more out of those. More pigment, more unique color options. I just felt like that was an area I could skip. I could go without that. Hello, B. Okay. She's in your bed. Oh. I know I talked about my In Beauty lip glazes a lot last year. I got a kit of these and I really, really liked it. And I see there's a kit again this year. 3 of the 4 shades I have. They've got a pumpkin spice shade in this one, and I'm sure it smells amazing. That's one of the big draws of the In Beauty lip glazes. They look beautiful, they're shiny, there is a tint of color, but the scents are just off the wall great. But this year's kit has the candy apple like last year's, has the vanilla mint like last year's, has the cinnamon bun, which I already have. Again, I'm not out of them. I'm not needing them. If you are, maybe you want to replenish with this kit. Last year you got Merlot in there. They're a nice, comfortable, moisturizing. You get a little bit of color, but just a really awesome, luxurious kind of scent experience too. I like the product, but it's not worth it to me to get that set again this year. Okay, Charlotte Tilbury is selling a 9-pan palette for almost $70. It's the Pillow Talk Beautyverse Love eyeshadow palette. I mean, are the tones appealing? Sure. Yes, I like berries and pinks, but my goodness, that price tag is a complete and total turnoff, and I just think we all know that that color spread can be found in so many other places right now, and within my own collection, no doubt, many times over. So it's pretty, and you know, I feel like there are far fewer eyeshadow palettes coming out this holiday season, so it did get my attention, but I'm not just going to by default say, well, there's fewer eyeshadow palettes, it seems like, so I guess I'll try that no, I'm not going to get that. My collection is crawling with berry eyeshadow and I don't need to spend almost $70 on that little palette. There's my restraint coming in. Little section here on the end of some things that I do still want. Some things that I've come across very recently that are catching my eye for sure. I noticed Glossier has a little Balm.com duo and the scents are both limited edition. They're biscotti and espresso. And I'm really loving a coffee scent in things and I feel like I'd really enjoy that. I love the Balm.com formula, so that seems like something that would just hit it right down the middle for me. If we're talking amazing scents and products, like I was talking about it with the In Beauty Project stuff, the Buxom Fall glosses, like the one in an Apple Cider Mule and the Pumpkin Spice White Russian, those smell so good. I wish they were in a kit. There's the vanilla one too and the butterscotch. I wish there was a packaged up thing I could talk about with those, but just individual items, I'm not really discussing that in this whole video, but that would be cool if they did that. I'd be shouting that one from the rooftop. Here's another thing that's got my eye that several of you have asked about already. Huda has a new palette and it's called Icy Nude. I'm seeing it and I'm thinking, yes, this looks appealing. This looks well balanced. It looks potentially very glitzy. Just from the picture I'm seeing here, it looks like some shades are going to be practically looking like glitters, but Huda tends to balance that stuff well in her palettes with really good mattes, and I'm seeing some of that too. Sorry, I've got a kitten in a cone just like shaking around down here. Seeing a couple of these example looks. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm feeling like I probably need to try and review that. Sephora Collection also has an intriguing eye palette out that I've kind of been looking at, not sure about it. It's just called the Amazing Eyeshadow Palette. Has anybody seen this? Has anybody tried this? It's a $40 palette. We've got some like oblong rectangular shades in there, but it looks like there's 4 fairly obvious quadrants of color, like color families you could kind of stick into. And I have in the past loved the quality, the texture of the Sephora Collection eyeshadows, so I am considering that. And I'm just talking about the one called Soft Lights. We're just shooting a video here. I'm just talking about this one called Soft Lights, but there's a whole other color scheme called Vibrant Lights, and like there's more blue in it. I guess added vibrancy, richness in the purples and the oranges and whatnot. So I just like to know any info you got. What's the tea on that palette? Danessa Myricks has a little set. When did this come out? Somehow there was a set coming up from Danessa Myricks on my computer yesterday, and I'm not seeing it on the app this morning. It was called the Yummy Skin Forever Lip and Cheek Set. I've used the Yummy Skin stuff in her like coverage product, kind of like balmy primer type of thing, but I have not tried that in the blushes and I wanted to use that and it looked like it was a 4-piece set and now I'm not seeing it. If I find it, I'll pop it up. Finally, a thing I'm interested in, I'm not sure if I'll get it or not, but I'm really interested because I have a mini of one of the things and I really like it. Tower 28. This is a real eczema friendly brand. I haven't dealt with a lot of eczema in a while, but I still really like the idea of what they're doing with that line, with everything being very sensitive skin friendly, very skin calming and soothing. And it was a set that contained, I think, a colorless lip softy, this spray, which this is what I'm talking about here. I've used up a lot of this, but the SOS Daily Rescue Facial Spray. You can like mist this on before your moisturizer. It calms down your skin. I like that. It contains a mist, I think a bigger size than that, and then a moisturizer as well that I would be interested in trying also. So I was kind of into all parts of that set. I know this video didn't dive in deep to things outside of makeup, but that is one thing I'm thinking about. Guys, my goal with this video was just to sort of check in on the holiday stuff, make my thoughts somewhat clear about the things I've gotten so far. I know there's still probably more to try. Let me know in the comments section about anything you are still interested in seeing a review on. This is largely Sephora stuff, but I'd be open to testing out maybe some more drugstore types of kits that I can find over on Ulta's website. So chat with me below about what interests you, and I will talk to you again in my next video. I love you. Bye.